And it's a really powerful message when you've got Haley and DeSantis and Ramaswamy all pledging allegiance to Donald Trump, saying that he is the best person to lead the party going forward and into the presidential election. Well, joining me now is Erol Morkoc, who's an American political strategist and spokesman for Republicans Overseas UK. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. I mean, you couldn't really write what's happened over the last 72 hours in terms of the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, and then the way he turned, the fact he's still alive, and those really iconic photographs. All of that stuff, and then appearing with a bandage on his ear at the RNC, people very emotional about the whole thing. The levels of outpouring of emotion as he actually walked through that convention centre as well. And of course, he's now clapping along, and you've got all of his previous people who were against him coming out in support of him. Let's just, I just wonder, first of all, what your take is on this, because it's almost like he's been greeted as a messiah.
I mean, you're absolutely right. It was the most emotional and, stunning moment I've ever seen in Republican or let's go with U.S. political history in my lifetime. I mean, I won't lie to you. My fiance and I both had tears in our eyes watching that when he came out for that moment. It was emotional. It was unifying. And then, as you said, all of the people who had perhaps been his, let's say, goodwill competitors, whether it be Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis, they have all come out and they've circled the wagons around a man who obviously now there is no question that he has actually sacrificed everything, his health, his wealth, and now his life nearly. And to do all of that and to still be able to be gracious, to still be able to bring people into the fold, people who said awful things about him, to be able to choose a vice presidential candidate like J.D. Vance, somebody who was a never Trumper. It just shows the level of forgiveness and perhaps Christian ethos that Donald Trump has embraced in his stratospheric 10-year journey to this moment. And I think we don't want to use the word messiah perhaps, but as far as a political leader goes right now, I can't think of anybody who's closer to that. I mean, it was obviously, I don't want to say divine intervention, but the millimeters that bullet missed his ear that would have ended his life and ended the race as we know it. I mean, it's larger than life. You couldn't write it, you couldn't script it, and obviously everybody is seeing that and everybody's feeling that.
What made you so emotional?
Just because I've been in the trenches, with my friends and family supporting him the whole way. And when people, used very negative language towards us or expected us to people, I'll give you an example. Somebody accused me of carrying Trump's water after he lost the 2020 election, as though I should have just turned against him. And a lot of people, were negative. And never once did me and my friends and the people who I love turn our backs on him. And to see that he also reciprocated that by putting himself out there in such a great way. The last 4 years, what he's gone through when they tried to take away his businesses, they're trying to imprison him, they've got his mugshot, they're trying to kill him. I feel vindicated in supporting a man who I think has the highest moral character of any presidential candidate I have ever seen in my entire life. And it's emotional even to think about somebody sacrificing all of that for what has been an ungrateful country. In some ways, America didn't deserve a man like that, and we're lucky to have him.
I mean, it's interesting. Many people would push back on you, saying he is a man of the highest moral character. But let's just move on and look at the way, as you say, these people, everyone is now coalescing around Trump. And certainly DeSantis, as we know, I mean, he was pretty aggressive, wasn't he? Keep repeating the porn star hush money payments. This is the reference to the criminal case Trump lost in New York. And yet, DeSantis, here he is, endorsing Trump.
Yes, and, I think a little bit of it has to do that he might be a little bit jealous of J.D. Vance, who has stepped into
let's send Joe Biden back to his basement, and let's send Donald Trump back to the White House. Life was more affordable when Donald Trump was president. Our border was safer under the Trump administration, and our country was respected when Donald Trump was our commander-in-chief. Our enemies do not confine their designs to between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. We need a commander-in-chief who can lead 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. America cannot afford 4 more years of a weekend at Bernie's presidency.
I laugh every time. I mean, totally eviscerating.
Oh, totally eviscerating in many ways, but I think that, you know, it's ultimately a matter of party over personality. And Ron DeSantis is a good man, and he's somebody who's come back into the fold. He definitely, as I had mentioned, had a chance to be the vice president, but he sort of turned that cheek, and it didn't go that way for him. So he obviously has to play his way back into the fold. I mean, Donald Trump values loyalty. That's why J.D. Vance is the vice president and not Ron DeSantis. But I certainly have to give President DeSantis, or Governor DeSantis, a lot of credit for coming out here and giving what was.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be fine though. He'll get a job, won't he? I mean, also, I just want to also point out Vivek Ramaswamy, because many people, and I was really struck by this. This is the chair of the Delaware Young Republicans, Daniel Willis, wearing a rather lovely elephant hat, which is the party's mascot. He basically said that Vivek Ramaswamy gave an amazing speech. He's the future of the party. Let's take a look.
That country, where no matter who you are, or where your parents came from, or what your skin color is, or how long your last name is, that you will still get ahead in this country with your own hard work, your own commitment, your own dedication, and that, you know what, you are free to speak your mind at every step of the way. That is the American dream. That is what won us the American Revolution. That is what reunited us after the Civil War. That is what won us 2 world wars and the Cold War. That is what still gives hope to the free world. And if we can revive that dream over group identity and victimhood and grievance, then nobody in the world, not a nation, not a corporation, not a virus, not China, is going to defeat us. That is what American exceptionalism is all about. And that is what we will revive this November when we send Donald J. Trump back to the White House.
Wow, what a speech.
Oh, powerful, so powerful. And, you know, Vivek, he's special to me because I'm also an immigrant. And Vivek understands, you know, Trump has a great line. When you have patriotism in your heart, there's no room for prejudice. There's no room for racism and you know, negativity once we're all on the same team. It's an American flag for that reason. And Vivek, I think he's the future of our party. He's young. He's got the sort of gravitas that a lot of competitive people look for. He made his own money. He was successful before politics, which is incredibly important because a lot of people in politics need the money because they don't have anything better to do. They haven't been able to achieve in the real world. Vivek brings that real world young talent, and he's able to give these firebrand speeches that speak across party lines. They speak globally to anybody who wants to come to America. Keep in mind, we want immigrants. We want legal immigrants to come to our country. And when they can look at a man like Vivek and see his rise and what he can do, potentially also being chosen to replace J.D. Vance in the Senate, we don't know that yet, but there's a lot of speculation. I think it's wonderful. And I think Vivek, he had a little bit of a difficulty in the campaign because he's a fresh candidate, but he's going to play a vital role either in the cabinet or as a U.S. senator, and we're excited for that.
Really good to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. That's Erol Morkoc, their American political strategist and spokesman for Republicans overseas UK. Time for a break. After the break, we're going to move